All right, this is Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, scheduled to go on at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, but Spirit tells me to do it right now. So, one of the things I'm going to be doing, I'm not expecting this to be a long program, even though I can be quite winded as a speaker. But one of the things is, let me get some more light. One of the things is that, there we go. One of the important things is I want to make an announcement, an update on my course that's coming up 1 month from today's date. So today's date is Saturday, the 22nd of August, and my class is scheduled to pop up on Tuesday nights for 11 weeks, which will be September the 22nd, and it will run all the way to December the 8th. The only class that it won't be happening will be Tuesday, November the 3rd. That's midterm elections, so people are going to be out voting if they work during the daytime or so forth. And so that's why it has that additional week. It would have gone to December the 1st, but then I realized November the 3rd was Tuesday. So the first Tuesday in November. So the reason why I'm doing this course, and I didn't bring my book over here, but many of you already know if you look at the uh, banner, it shows the book. This 11-week course, I refer to it as a master key. So it's entitled Walk with a Radiant Heart as Your Higher Self. And I want to let you know everybody is talking about this. I've been talking about the higher self for at least 15 or 16 years or more. And it took me a while to gather my thoughts into chapters, into segments, because my book is written in 4 parts. Maybe I should get up and go get it. All right. So I'm back. And of course, this is the book I'm talking about, Radiant Heart: Seven Amazing Pathways to Connect, Activate, and Communicate with Your Higher Self. And this is probably about the third, fourth course. Earlier this year, I taught Meeting Your Higher Self. There was an 8-week course on that. Then waited a few weeks, and then I taught another 8-week course, which was Creative Pathwork Meditations, which some of them appear in this book. Many of you may have seen the pre recorded video on the Sirius 888 on the Lion's Gate and received one of the original Creative Pathwork meditations there to experience. That was devoted to the 888 number series. And now I'm on tonight. So, if you've been with me this year, I've given forth at least 3 or 4 uh, classes or short courses. This one is very, very important. Walk with a radiant heart as your higher self is an 11 master key guide to living as your higher self. Now, I've noticed I don't have their names and I wouldn't put their names out here, but there's various people using my terminology and phrasing. Never fails. When you have something going on that is good, that people need to be a part of, everybody wants to steal your terminology. So be it. Doesn't really matter because the right people will find me at the right time. So this is an 11 master key guide to living as your higher self, meaning you're not pretending to be your higher self. You're not wishing you could be your higher self. This course is going to get you not only to become your higher self, but to be your higher self right now in this particular life stream. And living as your higher self with a radiance of divine grace, a radiance of divine grace in the age of remembrance. So you'll be given this opportunity to rediscover your transcendental self, which is known as your higher self. This is very important for you to realize. I'm just going to point out just a few things here. One of the things I should tell you when you take this course, it's an online course, and every online class within the 11-week master key is recorded. So when each class is complete within 48 hours or less, I give you, the student, paid student, a copy, your own video copy. That way, you have an opportunity to begin to have a library of courses. Those of you that several years ago took Decree and It Shall Be, that was a 13-week course. Some people had actually an 8-week course. Some people took the Wisdom of Akhenaten years ago when I did it as a teleseminar. The Gift, which is the wisdom of Nefertiti as I am. Some of you may have taken the numerology course. And one day I'll get back to teaching some numerology, just going a little deeper into it. Each one of my books is written very much like a manual. So you can take segments and study those segments individually as well as the entire book. So in this 8 to 11 week course, um, I guess soon I'll make it an 8 week course. It's 11 weeks. The cost is $506. Now, right now, if you can drop, I was going to go from September 15th to September 21st. I was going to let that be the week to pay the early bird fee, which was $444. Now, of course, for those of you who are in the inner circle of the Circle of Grace One, as spiritual sons and daughters, or I should say daughters and sons, uh, seems like the guys just can't arrive. It's okay. So here's the deal. You get it for a lot less. You're not paying the 506. You're not paying the triple fours. You're paying a little lower as my spiritual daughters and sons within the Circle of Grace One. And that's because you have taken already to be in that special group. You have already taken more than two or more online courses with me. Some of you have made it with me taking consistently the first Thursdays, which are now the first Wednesdays of each month, because I'm rearranging things. My higher self and my ancestors' request at this state and time in my life to cut back a little bit, slim down a little bit. Many of you have been able to take over a long period of time the first Sunday afternoons of Creative Pathwork Meditation. So, if you have been one of those people taking all of those since you first arrived in 2022 with me, which was what, 4 years ago, if you've been blessed to take a lot of different online courses with me, that means you are already within the finer inner circle of spiritual daughters and sons within the circle of Grace One. And that's why you will get um, a far less fee in order to take this course. So here are some of the master keys. The first master key is the mirror method. MIRROR method. This is set to help strengthen the gift called your higher self. The second master key, affirmations are activations for self empowerment. The third master key, decrees can unlock the doors for awareness and remembrance. The fourth master key, you are the living prayer and obelisk, which means you are now activating yourself. The fifth master key is the path of the cobra, which symbolizes the pineal gland, opens doors to self discovery, higher consciousness, and wisdom through higher realms. If you survive and get to that one, you're activated, my friend. Not just activated, you are the activation. The sixth master key is becoming and radiating unconditional love. That means once you acquire and understand that lesson, you are activating yourself as unconditional love. The seventh master key is selenite, which is a master gem that activates the spirit of divine grace for longevity, flexibility, youthfulness, and a continuous alignment with your higher self. The eighth master key is sound frequency. Now, I will not play any particular sound frequency, but I'm going to let you know the most potent ones, and there are several. Now, they are connected to the solfeggio tones, which you have heard now for years online. You can go to various other YouTube channels and hear that. There are so much more that go into the 4 and 5 digit range. Then there's the eighth master, that's the eighth master key. The ninth master key is all about discipline, being consistent to practice, which establishes the divine presence connection within yourself. The 10th master key moves you past the philosophy of the higher self. You see, up to this point, In the past 20, 30 years, everyone, including myself. Now, I have been blessed to be able to receive something called a Shaktipa. That's spelled Shaktipat. And that is an initiation from a guru, which is no longer around. There's so many of them that have done their work, and so many of them have had their issues dealing with themselves physically and mentally as well. But nonetheless, they did teach many, many people. And one of the teachers, one of my Tai Chi instructors, was a recipient also of Shaktipa. And that is the uniting of your Kundalini from your root chakra to open it. And then, because it's happening to you and through you, it takes time, but you begin to experience the various things connected to all of your chakras. And people think, when you receive a Shaktipa, that is automatic. In other words, once you open up the root chakra, you're automatically uh, in the heavens, so to speak. You automatically have the virtues. Nah, it takes about a whole 10, 11, 12 years, 13, 14, 15 years for your Kundalini to work itself through all of your chakras, which really means to go right through the center of your spine. And that is not an easy task. People assume that it is, but it isn't. Someone may ask, well, Brother Francis Revels-Bey, did your serpentine energy reach the crown? Yes. I was initiated during the week of April the 2nd through the 7th of 1977 in New York City, Lower East Side, near 2nd Avenue. And I received it, and it began its journey. And in the fall, early fall, which was in the month of September of 1988, I experienced the Kundalini, as the serpentine energy, as it's called, igniting my pineal gland. Now, my pineal gland was already open, but this really knocked it into place. As we know, it's very tiny. It's not like the size of a pecan in your head. It's very, very tiny organ in your brain. But it did ignite the pineal gland, expanding the energy within it and around it. And that went in and connected to also my crown chakra, which was the movement of the pituitary gland. So those two sparked off the connection and the finalization, the first layer of the experience called the Shaktipa. In other words, Shakti meets with Shiva. Shakti is coming from your tailbone, your base chakra, and ascends and eventually meets up with Shiva, which is recognized in the Hindu philosophies and the writings and the teachings using Sanskrit, is your pineal gland. And eventually, that explodes energetically, etherically, into the pituitary. And then you have the awakening. Now, people think it stays up there. No, it doesn't. Stays up there for, I say, a hot minute. I'll say you might have the effects going on in your head throughout your brain, but it's only there a short time. It's like a high tide and a low tide. So once that Kundalini hits in the center of your brain, then going up and hitting the crown as well, then the energy has to come back down. It has to return to the root chakra. But when it gets to the top, what you see is different from person to person. Mine was seeing the cells, the minute cells of like one cell exploding, and then that cell, as it exploded as one, split off into two, and the two split off into two, and so on and so on. So the experience for each person is different. I'm not teaching Shakti Pa because when I received it as an initiate, as a candidate, I was not put in that position to be able to initiate other people. And I'm okay with that. Many people receive activations all the time. The only difference is they don't understand what they're truly receiving. And the reason why I say this, if you get one activation, what people don't understand is if you are receiving one activation, I don't care if it's activation of Archangel Michael or any other archangel. I don't care if it's an activation of the ascended masters. Doesn't matter. Only one initiation, one activation is really needed within yourself. Oh, really, only one. But if you receive one and you're able to harness the energy, because that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to harness the energy for a while. Harness means what? To hold on to it for a while and let it work itself through your nerve system, your muscular system, your skeletal system, your glandular system, and the biggest organ in your body, called your skin, without burning it out. If you can get to that point, all other initiations become a part of that very first one. Yes, it takes time. Many people assume, and I've met a lot of people on this path, and they study with thousands of other people, but they don't understand that they got to do the work. And what is the work? They have to override their personal ego, which will show up in different ways. And when that personal ego shows up in different ways, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. I just read an article that someone passed along to me and some other people on Facebook. And I know the person because I used to teach when she had a bookstore in Nutley, New Jersey. A very, very good hearted soul woman. And her bookstore at that time was called Divine Inspirations Bookstore. Perfect name. Everything in there. She had all of the authors. At that time, I didn't have my books published then when I was teaching out there in New Jersey. But she pointed to, and this is good to know, um, she saw an article on a website. The website is www.guru, Guru, mag.com or www.guru.com. Anyway, the person's name is B, as in capital B, lowercase e, and the last name was Schofield. Now, I don't know if that's the person's actual name, but that's powerful. Every time I see that name, Schofield, that produces a lot of masters. There were some Asiatic brothers who were masters of karate, Ishinru karate, Shotokan karate back in the 60s, late 60s, with the last name Schofield, which is Schofield. Well, B. Schofield was someone who had the opportunity to have the journalistic skills and also the skills to slide into various organizations and observe some things. And what B. Schofield talks about are these different, on the outside, masters, such as Sadhguru, that's Sadhguru, uh, Pema Chodron was a follower of someone else. And this person also, I believe, mentioned Deepak Chopra, which we already know that he got exposed within this past year to being on the Epstein files. The sad thing is, and there was a woman called Amma, Amma, which I had the opportunity to meet. hmm I met Amma with some other friends at the time back in New Jersey. And Amma, she carried a lot of energy. But it turns out that Amma, as well, is a part of this web of manipulators. Now, at that time, I didn't know that. But at that time, I was in no hurry. I wasn't in a hurry to be a part of her teachings. And this is a sad thing, but we're in the time and age where more and more things are being revealed. So I don't want to use my entire time tonight to talk about those people. But those people have had their own issues, and a lot of them are the misuse of power and authority that they have acquired spiritually. In other words, being awakened, but still have not dealt with their shadow side, the side that they hide from others. And now it's all coming to the surface. So, the 10th master key is move past the philosophy by feeling the presence. Who used to say that? Neville Goddard said it. He learned that from a Ethiopian brother in New York City called Abdullah, because there were a lot of teachers in New York City way back in the late 40s, 50s, and early 60s. Of course, the foremost proponent of that talk was known as Reverend Ike, Frederick Eichenruncoda, better known as Reverend Ike. And on his marquee on the theater of his church in New York City at West 175th Street and Broadway, he didn't have enough room to put Eichenruncoda, so he put IKE, which made sense. And everybody got to know him as Reverend Ike. And he talked about it in a more street level side. He would say, let the feeling get the blessing. That's what he would say. Let the feeling, your feeling, what you feel, draw into your life, draw into your experience, which you have through your body. Let the feeling get the blessing. And this is so important because it leads the feeling that you have is already what? In you, embodiment. You're already carrying the energy. That's why you can feel it. So the feeling, the presence, leads to embodiment. This is the 10th master key, which means you learn to act on the feeling and not just only on the thought. We all have thoughts. We're thinking 90 million miles an hour with thoughts. Even when you go to sleep, you're still thinking, just like your heart is still beating. So you learn that in the 10th week, the 10th master key. Then the 11th master key is activate the blue pearl. Activate the blue pearl to remember, which means walk with a radiant heart as your higher self. And I'll explain what that blue pearl is when we get to that last class, which will be held on Tuesday, December the 8th. So there's so much that you're going to acquire and you're going to learn. And this is going to be like that guy that used to be on the old TV show Good Times. He used to say, Dynamite, Jimmy Walker. That's what his character, Dynamite. So it's going to be an awesome eight. I want to say eight so much. It's going to be an awesome 11-week online course. And there's so much more that you can learn within that course that will keep you fluid. And as I say now, the course in itself is a $506 course. Now, yeah, I'm using numerology. But here's the thing we want to understand. These courses can be thousands of dollars. I don't believe in charging a grand. I've charged 499, 499. I've charged the course at 500, 506. But I don't need to do any more than that. But to be able to get the course as an early bird fee for $444, that's something. And if you are a part of the inner circle of the Circle of Grace One as a spiritual daughter or son, you get it for less. Not half price of the full course, but you save, and I'll put it out there, you will save an extra $100 discount off the early bird fee. Now, all these prices can be paid by installments. So if you want to go and pay the 256 or 250 on the first installment and then do the balance of 256, so be it. If you want to pay the early bird fee, which is $444, you can make four payments of $111. If you're also already inside the Circle of Grace One as my spiritual daughter and spiritual son, you're going to get the course for $344. And you can split that however you want to do it. Bottom line is offering these courses so that you can move in a way that is healthy for you. So if you're a part of the inner circle, you're paying maybe 174 the first time and 170 the second time. Here's the thing: anybody that has ever studied with me before, whether it's how to write affirmations and decrees, that was in that course, Decreeing It Shall Be. If you've taken courses about Akhenaten or Nefertiti and their teachings, if you've taken courses about selenite, if you've done any of these, numerology, any of these, and you've done at least two online courses, you're already in. So that's the information I wanted to release to anybody that listens to this live and come back and listen later over and over. If you want more information about how to get my books, you can look my name up as Francis E. Revels-Bey on Amazon.com. Just say books by Francis E. Revels-Bey, and you'll see all seven up there. Or you can jump on http colon double forward slash linktr period ee single, you go this way, single forward slash iam dot circle of grace one. And that's a link tree address, and it opens up and gives you all the icons of the social media websites. I'm on Fanbase. I'm on, which I have to get back and complete my mini series on numerology. I am on Instagram, Substack, Blue Sky. I am also, and understand Blue Sky was the original before Twitter. There's some of the people that stayed on Blue Sky and the others jumped on Twitter. And I guess those that jumped on Twitter wish they hadn't. Then, of course, I'm not on LinkedIn. I had to drop a few more. Can't be all over the place. I'm on Facebook. And so all of these icons can get you there. There's one there for Amazon, the letter A, the lowercase a for Amazon. If you tap on that, that automatically takes you to my book, the seventh book. It automatically takes you there. You can read about it. I'll read it for you. Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey invites you to explore the journey of creatively connecting, activating, and communicating with your higher self through meditation. People, that's the only way you're going to get there. Meditation is it. The partner to meditation is prayer. And you have your own way of prayer. I have some people who feel back east that they think they know what I'm teaching when I talk about prayer, and they don't. They often think, he must be talking about Christian prayer. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about Islamic prayer. I'm not talking about prayers that are Chinese, Korean, Japanese. I'm not talking about Shintoism. I'm not talking about Taoism. I'm not talking about any of those things. I'm talking about how you can go within yourself and speak forth a prayer. I have people all the time donating funds to me to write prayers for their children, for people who travel abroad, writing prayers all the time, and initiating that energy of a prayer so that it envelopes them and protects them from any kind of harm. So you learn how to get into these meditations, strongly supported by them and your heart center, which is the key to successful meditations. And anybody that knows me, I have been teaching meditation since 1974. That's a long time. I've been teaching meditation since 1974. And so, keeping this in mind, I've taught over 40 subject matters. And this is essential. When people realize the time it takes to teach topical matter, to teach it in a way that is simple to understand. Now, sometimes people will think that when they learn a course, they learn something one time, they think they are the master. No, it takes years and years and years. Just to become adept at something takes you 18 to 20 years. That means of consistent study and application. It's like I always use the example of martial arts. People often think, I'm going to go to the dojo, I'm going to go to the Kwon. Kwon, Kwoon, means school in terms of Shaolin monks and so forth, learning meditation on different levels and applying it through systems for fighting. But hey, here's the thing, it takes a great deal of effort, disciplining the body, stretching those ligaments and muscles to be able to do that consistently, to be able to strengthen the body in such a way that there's no breaks. The ability to strengthen one's brain, the element and the energy of the brain, in order to think clearly and to be focused when thinking, to have a laser sharp awareness of your surroundings, of yourself, and what you can remember for yourself. These things take time. And I've been approached by many people over the years. Hey, can I teach them something? They can do it overnight. No, it doesn't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. And the reason I say that is because if you find yourself struggling, having a lot of issues that you're not supposed to be having, then what happens is, ooh wee, Melanie Hall. What happens is a lot of people hit the road and then they hit the wall. Then they have confusion. So, people, this stuff takes time. You have to be willing to become a dedicated student, which means you're not rushing through the process, which means you are allowing yourself to study deeply, to move in such a way that you are gradually being nourished by the teachings. But what do I mean by that? See, when you begin to study yourself, you're going to have the ups and downs. You're going to experience them, no doubt. And you have to allow yourself to be able to receive, to understand yourself. It's all about self-study. It's never been really about anything else. The reason why we, or a person like myself, adds in different things from the process of angelic presence or gemstones, or understanding various things like the chi, because it takes time. All this stuff is moving through you 24 hours a day, 7 days and nights a week. It's constant. Even when you feel that you are at rest, your body is still functioning. Here's something, an example I could maybe share with you. Actual technique that you can use, and you can, when this is over, you can come back and replay this. The next time you are preparing to close your eyes and go to sleep at night. And when you do this, you want to give yourself more than enough time to feel the presence of energy moving through your body. Now, people have used the thing of circling your palms. That's nothing new. People have been circling the palms energetically like this for 30 and 40 years. They use that technique in yoga classes, especially hatha yoga classes. They use that technique in martial arts, whether you're studying kung fu or karate or jiu-jitsu. They do that to let you know there's a field of energy known as your aura, which is your own electromagnetic energy flowing in and through your body and around your body. Hello, this is Jelly's Journeys. So these things are always happening. It's nothing really new, but it allows you to become more sensitive to the energy that you are giving off. And this energy is traveling through your body all the time, nonstop. But it takes time, meaning training, discipline, especially individual discipline, and the willingness on your part to start to tune in to kind of sense what it is that you're feeling in the first place. This is not some overnight journey, overnight success. It takes time. Just like a person is a white belt or white sash in martial arts, they will tell you the journey is not easy, even as a beginner. The body has to be toughened, tightened up. Calluses form on the knuckles and on the balls of your feet. And if they're not forming on the balls over your feet over time, people tell you, rip a hole in your skin on your foot, you'll see. Or on your heel, on the ball of your foot, on the big toe. A lot of this stuff happens. That's when you go to martial arts schools, teachers have you fill out a form. They want you to fill out this form because they're telling you they're not responsible for the fallout that you're going to receive as developing yourself as a martial artist. Usually, the martial art instructor, head instructor, will notice who is the strongest physically. And I'm talking about with muscular power, tolerance, pain tolerance. Yeah, it's more about how much pain you think you can take. They usually call that person in the karate classes the Yukis, UKE. We used to say demonstration dummy because the teacher could take you, and that's provided that the teacher understood teaching you properly so you learn how to fall, so you don't break your neck, you don't break your pelvis, you don't fracture your back or shoulders or arms. But that teacher can take you and throw you over their hip, spin you around, lock your arm up, and you have to know how to work with that energy flow that the instructor is giving out to you, the student, to demonstrate to other people in the class how the technique works, how the technique is applied, how the person will respond in the transitional stages of the technique from the time they touch you or you touch them till the time you go through a full flow and hitting the mat. This is something that is understood. Yeah, it's not easy. But look, sometimes the instructor will pick one, designate somebody to be the uki, to strengthen them. There's different ways that the instructor is strengthening that student, not just through their physical body, but through their mind, their mindset, and their heart. The teacher doesn't do anything with the heart because the teacher can understand how much heart or courage that the student, woman or man, boy or girl, will have developed over time studying with them. So, this is important. You must take your time in the field of studying metaphysics, spirituality, you name it. It's not overnight success. Never has been and never will be. So, tonight when you go to sleep, while you're preparing for sleep, have a pad or a pen nearby, and I want you to write down what you think could be one idea, could be two, could be three, could be four. You can write up to 10 if you want. Or what you would like to experience in the dream world and become aware of it while you're still asleep. Become aware of the dream, which means you become lucid. Lucid. That means you awaken within your dream and understand that it is a dream that you're having. And now you can manipulate the dream to the best outcome that you want to experience. Now, some people say, oh, I do that very easily. No, it takes time. Many people are unaware that they're having a dream. The only person that would know that you're having a dream is your cat, your dog, and your life partner. If your life partner's in the same bed with you, they'll know if you're dreaming. Why? Because your eyelashes, upper eyelid and bottom eyelid, will start flashing. That's when they know that you're having a dream experience. They will see your eyes darting back and forth underneath your eyelids. That's when you're dreaming. That takes place anywhere from 30 to 60, 45 seconds to 90 seconds. That's when you are experiencing a dream. And there's several of them that are happening in succession. But when you are asleep and you're dreaming deeply, it feels like hours on end. Those hours of sleep time may appear to be just 10 minutes or 20 minutes of sleep time. So, excuse me, you're having these experiences all the time. It's not overnight, it's a step by step by step process. And again, people will see this and ask me, how long you been doing it? Look, I got started learning how to meditate in my freshman year of college, and that was in the first the first 12 weeks in 1970 in the month of September. That was a long time. During the 6 week process, I learned all about meditation. And the person that taught me wasn't even a student on the college campus that I was attending. That person, I'm not even sure if they're around anymore because I was 18 years of age in college, and this person was at least 30 to 40 years of age. This gentleman, referred to himself as quote unquote a military brat, meaning that he learned from his father and mother, specifically his dad, who is in the military. He traveled around the country to different bases. This guy's first name is Marty, short for Martin, and he would teach not only me, but several other students outdoors in the woods behind one of the big dormitories on campus. There were three big dorms. One was called Blythewood, another was called um, Ward Manor. That's the one I learned to be behind. But another one's called Tewksbury. But anyway, we were outdoors. We were never indoors. We were outdoors until snow became. When it began to snow or got really cold, then we went indoors. But we sat outside on logs of wood on tarps. You know those blue tarps? Yeah. He had them set up almost like a tent where at least two people can be in there at a time. So he had about six of us outside. Inclement weather. We were in there deep enough where the rain wasn't getting to us. So you imagine walking through the woods with an umbrella or a poncho to get to your location. That's how I began learning about meditation and how to meditate. Well, nowadays you don't have to be in such harsh weather conditions. You can be inside a nice warm house. You can sit in front of a fireplace if you want. You can be in your bedroom. You can be in a meditation room. You can be seated before an altar if you want. But you learn how to meditate. The process is ongoing, my friends. It's not, oh, I'm just going to do it for 90 days and I'm going to stop. Well, if you stopped on your 90th day, your 91st day is when you might actually receive some information. So, meditation is an ongoing process to the point that you become the essence of your meditation. You become the feeling, the presence of chi or ki or pranic energy. You become that. You start to experience that. This is essential to your well being. Being well, being yourself, being a part of this energy. And it's important because it takes work. In order to get to this higher state of consciousness that we all can attain, you see, higher consciousness is not the end all. The teachers out of India would say, well, at some point, you're going to experience nirvana. And another point, you're going to experience samadhi. Well, what are these? You can get nirvana, which allow you to attain bliss, pure happiness, or samadhi, pure instinctive awareness on a higher level, where you become one with all of creation. See, this is the thing that is essential because everybody's rushing to get this information. Like I said, people have been talking about the higher self off and on. And I realized last night somebody online, I'm not going to mention the person's name, online is using things that they found in my book and then putting it out there like they've been teaching it. All I have to say is if that's what that person wants to do, as my late mother and aunties and uncles would say, that's on them. Because eventually it's going to catch up to them and they won't be able to explain. Or the way these books that I write, much information has been channeled to me. I go over it over and over in great detail to make sure I feel comfortable in releasing the information. But this is what I find that happens. Many people that steal from everybody else, that they're using my exact terminology and phrasing, well, eventually you can't explain it anyway. Because you do get to a point where you do awaken to the awareness of your higher self, and then you go, oops, I owe that person an apology. Or oops, they're unable to connect with me because it's not their information. This is why people have to realize there are many things that take place, and in that process, in your own individual journey, you will not accomplish much if you don't be true to yourself. In other words, you have to be authentic. And yes, we all are using words. Words belong to the greater universe. But what I'm talking about is when other people steal people's ideas and then they put it out there as if it's their own, and it's not. Because within all my books, even within the spacing of letters, there's information. Either you see it and feel it or you don't. So, this is what people must realize. It's very, very important. And I'm going to say this maybe two or three times. It's very, very important to be honest within these teachings. Even when your higher self motivates you to move forward and share the jewels that you have acquired on your own journey, you are responsible for what comes through you. This is why it's important, you know. Now we have all these social media platforms. And I used to be on TikTok. I didn't even want to go on it. My oldest niece and grandniece, her daughter, was visiting me when they were traveling from Long Island, New York, by car to go to Gilbert, Arizona, where the grandniece and her husband were about to acquire a house. Well, they had acquired it, but now they were living in it. And her mom, my older niece, and her husband was there living with her. But here's the thing, it's important that we comprehend who we are. Now, my grandniece said, Uncle, you should hop on TikTok. So I went on TikTok December 20th, 2000 and I think it was 2002 is when I jumped on. And I rode TikTok for a while. It was amazing because I talked about some numerology personalities from the numbers 1 through 9. In fact, I went through all of the dates from 1 to 31 briefly. And then I got on there live. Did that 3 times. But I had to get at least 1,000 followers first. Well, from 2022, December 2022, all the way into January, February, I acquired 1,000 that fast. And then a couple of months went by and I acquired uh, close to 3,000. Well, anyway, by the middle of the spring of 2024, I had close to 6,000 followers. That's not a lot. But I learned something very important. And this is not knocking other people. Many people get on the platforms and they want to be quote unquote reading people. And why? Because if you acquire enough people, you can charge some money and make a lot of money. And I'm not saying that they're not helping people, because they are helping people. Think of it this way: if there was no TikTok, no Facebook, no Twitter, no LinkedIn, and any other social media site, you would be resorting to dialing 1-800 psychic hotlines. And there's tons of them out there. There are tons of them owned by 3 and 4 different groups of people that are really one group. They just call it different names. Psychic network, tons of them. But you, the psychic, becomes like a secretary for them because you got to keep track of the people that call you at the times that you choose to work. You got to get their name, you got to get their phone number, and some additional information like credit card information. Some people went to jail for that. The woman that called herself, that used a Jamaican accent, and turns out that she wasn't even Caribbean at all. She was good at doing that voice. And the group that she worked with had her take all the weight. The guys that set it up were ex felons anyway, got into it. So many people want to go on and be readers. And people ask me all the time, well, how come you're not doing numerology readings anymore? Hey, I've been doing numerology readings since 1974. That's a long time. I've done over 40,000 different reports and charts in numerology. And I can say I've done well past that. I'll tack on another 5, 10,000 because a reading can take 2 to 3 minutes, or it can take up to 20 minutes, or it can take up to an hour. It takes time and energy. I've been invited into as far back as last year, 2024, April, May of 2024. I was invited into a channeling group because they knew that I could channel my ancestors, my immediate ancestors. I could channel my late mother and her mother. My late mother is Mother Grace. That's how I call her. Her first name is Grace. Circle, Circle of Grace 1. That means she's the first Grace in my life. And the Circle of Grace 1 is named in her honor because she, as my biological mother, was my very first metaphysical and spiritual teacher. She knew the direction I would be headed in, but I didn't know. Only at the age of 8 is when I thought I was having a dream and explained it to her, and it was a vision. And that's when I was in college. I eventually saw it. 10 years later, I had the experience. Now, why I'm talking about this? Well, first of all, if this is your first or second time or umpteenth time of seeing me here on the Circle of Grace One channel for YouTube, I refer to myself as a random, random podcaster, which means I'm kind of a liberated podcaster. I don't like the necessary podcast on a certain day all the time every week. Now, if you were to go over to Resident Essentials YouTube channel, and you can find them by typing into the search bar the symbol at and then put Resonant Essentials 4314, it would take you right to the Resident Essentials website. And I have usually every Thursday for a long time. I've had as much as over 254 live and pre recorded video streams of lessons under the heading Clear Blue Radiance, which will one day be a book. I'm working on another book. Actually, I'm working on 3 different manuscripts. But here's the essence. I could be on here reading anybody. Many times I have. At the youthful age of 74, I have decided not to be so visible anymore. I have a lot of work to do. My phone's ringing off the hook right now. People wanting to get a reading tonight, even though they've known me for years, that they need to set an appointment, not just, hey, can you read me tonight? Because I got something going on. Can't always get it that way. And the reason why I say that is I know that sometimes people can go to other people and have to pay, some 4 digits in order to get a person's attention to get a reading. And there are many, 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 many uh, people under the heading of Christian ministers, as well as Pentecostalist ministers, who are highly psychic and highly accurate, but they use astrology because they've studied it. They use numerology because they've studied it. They use the tarot. They study dreams, you name it. But they are first to tell you they're not psychic. Psychics are hit and miss, but they're using psychic skills. So I could be on here reading people. I just choose to slow it down a bit. Now I know people have some questions. I can feel your energy. So let's say you might want a quick numerology assessment. All you gotta do is give me your birth month and day, calendar date number. I don't need your year. And I can give you some insight. Or maybe you've had a dream symbols that keep coming in. I've been on here an hour and 15 minutes already. When you replay this, you'll hear about the 11 Master Key Guide, the 11 weeks that I'll be teaching online starting Tuesday night, September the 22nd, and going all the way through Tuesday night, December the 8th. I'll be teaching my fourth or fifth class. It'll be the fourth course of this book. You can get this book, paperback book, on Amazon.com. You can get this for $25. Radiant Heart. This 11-week Master Key course is based on this book. And as I say, now people may ask, well, how come you're not on here weekly? Because I have at least 14. Yes. Okay, I'm going to answer your question in a second. I have at least 14 nieces and nephews that I got to teach. Many are waking up to their innate abilities. Seem like the whole family is psychic and can see spirits. So we have Melanie. We had your name here. And we have October 9th. So, and you keep seeing the number 1234, as in 1234. If you add those numbers together, it gets the number 10. You're born in the 10th month. 1 plus 0 is 1. So 10 and 1 deal with ingenuity, the ability to be creative, to develop leadership abilities, to be a teacher, to understand different levels of mathematics. These are things that are attached. 1234, not 1230, 1234. We go to the number 12. Number 12 is about breaking through secrets or secrecy, things that could be hidden from your eyes, things that have been hidden from you that you always wanted to know about, but you got to break through. You got to have some type of breakthrough in order to receive the information. Then you got the number 34. So when we say this, we say 30 first, then we say 4. 30 is the ability to think deeply, to meditate, but to think deeply, do a lot of inner analysis. And 4 is about keeping it simple. Sometimes there's a lot of chaos. That's the number 4. The opposite of chaos is order. So at some point, you're being reminded from your higher self to think deeply, analyze things. Don't overreact to anything. 3 plus 4, 34. 3 plus 4 is 7. So that's getting in touch with yourself. 7 is you. So that time is reminding you to delve deeply inside yourself to receive deeper levels of insight. So it's all about what you can achieve with yourself. 12 is understanding things that appear to be secretive that are going on around you. Already understanding who you are, you have been able to cut through those things over a long period of time. Okay, it says the chat was disconnected, but it's back. So that time frame. Now, when we think of one, two, three, four, symbolically think of it as you taking simple steps, but measured steps. So 1234 can mean this. In the first 2 weeks, work on memorizing things, not just thinking and analyzing, but what can you remember? I always teach throughout my courses, what are you aware of and what can you remember? Because again, we're seeing and hearing things all the time. Nothing is really escaping us. We may think that it is, but not really. We're feeling something going on all the time with ourselves. And we have to allow ourselves to be in the present moment. So you have to allow yourself to receive insight. In other words, you got to get out of your own way. I don't mean to say that in a harsh way because you're doing that all the time. Not everybody is. Not everybody is willing to step beyond the personal ego and open themselves to receive sources of information, whether it comes to you in sound, images, words, numbers, like I said, one, two, three, four. That's a reminder you like take the necessary steps. Be calm with yourself. Be easier on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. And know that you can figure things out. Remember earlier I said one of the 11 master keys talks about feeling. That you get away from over analyzing everything, overthinking everything, and getting into feeling everything. Sometimes you don't have to feel everything because if you're using your heart center, your heart chakra, you're allowing yourself to feel that which is correct or right for you to feel. And not any two people are going to feel the same things in the same way. So it's about learning how to become sensitive enough to feel something deeply enough, but with discernment. What is discernment? When you're discerning something, you're going into the truth of a situation, the truth of matter, which is a play on the word mother. We already know that we are living in a world that is heavily simulated, overlapped with real and not real, which things that appear to be real, but appearances can be fooling you. So when you got to go deep to feel something, you have to develop layers of understanding. Because when you do that, that gives you what? More truth. And truth is essential to your well being. You see, this is keeping in mind, this is why I don't like to be on all the time. I used to be on here religiously. Reminds me 20 years ago, I used to be on all kind of platforms. Justin TV, Ustream, capital USTREAM, live stream. That was another one. Mogulus, that was one of the original ones. Mogulus. That was in New York City, down there on Fifth Avenue somewhere. I used to be on a lot of these platforms. Blog Talk Radio. Then I was invited to be on other people's Blog Talk Radio programs. But here's the deal: no matter which program you decide to study, no matter which platform, no matter which book, it's still up to you to come to a better understanding of the things that you are studying, things that you want to apply. Some people, are still in a state of depression. What is depression? Depression is when you have internalized anger. It means out here in front, you are angry about something, but then you got quiet and you brought the anger inside yourself and you start to internalize it. And often people are responding to the anger that's on the inside of them that's eating away at them now. And it's very sad. And we already know people are living short lives now. We can be saddened by the fact that there are young people leaving the planet before they even get to be 19, 18, 16, 13. Sad. But here's the other side: each one of us is in alive with the higher self. Each one of us has chosen in advance before we were birthed into this particular life stream. We already decided who's going to be mom, dad, grandma, granddad, brother, sister, cousin, who's going to play the most important roles, who's going to be our oppressive personalities around us, who are going to be the bullies. The reason why I say this because everybody around us is triggering, pressing a button inside of us. When that button is pressed, if it's the right button, the right word, the right phrasing, the right remembrance, we have an opportunity to show light, the light within ourselves that can free ourselves and help other people become liberated with themselves. So, the journey, the path that you find yourself on takes time to understand that path, why you chose that path, why you open many doors or don't on your own path. It's about what you can find out that's going on with yourself and what is essential for you to do or understand in order to free the mind. But understand this: your heart is far greater than your brain. Your brain gives off energy, your whole body is giving off energy, but it's your heart center. This is the place where your higher self experiences you and you experience your higher self. So I'm going back to Melanie here. I don't want you to think I haven't touched anything, but here you're in 2026. You have a birthday coming up this year. Wow. This year, you're going to come into a too personal year on your birthday, Melanie, this year from 10/9/2026 to 10/8 of 2027. You're going to be rocking a too personal year. So that means when that takes place, right up to the eighth day, 10th month of this year, you are flowing through a one personal year. From last year to now, it's all been about yourself. What is it that you see with yourself that perhaps you might want to re image, rebrand, or change? Have you been able to become distinctively for yourself a true individual? Individual means you cannot be even divided. That means someone can't change your mind. Someone can't change how you feel about yourself. That's about the number one. What have you been doing for yourself? What have you been planning? What have you been striving to accomplish for yourself? Here's an interesting factor is we all are being birthed through not just this matrix, but birthed through the consciousness, divine consciousness, or what we call the divine mother energy, the divine father energy. It's all about bringing it together through what we call our higher self, is to be one with ourselves, united with ourselves. What are we willing to do to be truly united in ourselves first? To get absolutely clear about why we feel that we are here at this designated time in our life. Because when 10/9/2026 arrives, you shift into the two personal you, which is all about partnering, being a partner to yourself first, trying to discover that partner within yourself. See, the journey of all these numbers are always taking us deeper and deeper into understanding who we are. It is not just ourselves inside of a partnership with a partner. When you get to the number three, it's not just about you, yourself, and children. When you get to four, it's about how much of a foundation have you established now? Where are your strengths and your weaknesses? Because when you step into a five personal year, it's how you are communicating that freely to the world. Are you able to move about within your community of people? Are you able to stay in oneness with yourself and find a partner in which you could be at one with, meaning be at peace with? Some people say, well, I want to find a partner and build an empire. Well, you can do that. You can find a partner and build an empire. But if something happens to you, something strange and out of the ordinary happens to you, will that partner be there and be supportive to you? That's important. So that's what they always say, choose wisely. But hey, not any of us chooses wisely. Some of us appear to luck out. Some of us appear to luck out. I'll say it again. Some of us appear to luck out. Not everybody has a rosy experience through relationships. Some of us find out that we shouldn't be in a relationship. Some of us say, well, I want to experience being a father and a mother. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes that doesn't. And where are you when it doesn't happen? How are you feeling about yourself? People will look at me and say, well, you've never been married. How can you give advice? No, I wasn't married in this lifetime. I was married in 50 other lifetimes. That's where all of this is coming from. None of us has ever been without a partner or a mate of some sort at some time. None of us. All of us have experienced some relationship. Some of us have remembered relationships, have remembered being father in one lifetime, or several lifetimes, or hundreds of lifetimes, have been a mother and a father, a sister and a brother, an aunt and an uncle, a grandmother and a grandfather. We've been through it. How many of us have come to the realization to become more jovial and more loving and kinder with ourselves? You know that some people do not like being alone by themselves? Sometimes people have to put on a TV set in order to feel comfortable being by themselves. I had many friends that would have me come and do meditations in their home, then have me stay over. What do you hear going on? TV set in the bedroom. Now, if you want to have a TV set in your bedroom, so be it. But here's what happens: you have a TV set in your bedroom, and nowadays you have what is called the smart TV. That's hooked up through your internet, not just playing it by itself, but hooked up to a modem. And here's what's going on: even if it's not hooked up to a modem, your TV set can be paired, as they say, with your phone and with your modem. So that what happens? That you start picking up all kind of frequencies and hertz cycles and kilohertz cycles as well. That means thousands of a hertz cycle, thousands of 1,000s of energy coming pumped throughout your house, even when it's not on. Same with your phone. This is the thing that's important. You have to come to that realization that you are either in tune or out of tune. So your body is a special transmitter and a generator and a receiver. Your entire body is doing that all the time. We have what, over 108 plus trace minerals in your body. You have something called selenium, and then outside your body you can get selenite, but inside your body got selenium. It's one and the same. The selenium is more of a liquid form embedded in your bloodstream with all the other trace minerals. So you already have things going on, but it's up to you to find them. It's up to you to establish balance in your body. The more balanced you become, the better you shall be. So, just wanted to let you know that. So, Melanie, right now is you're finishing off within this month. You got 6 weeks to do it, 8 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks, and you're getting ready to move into that two personal year. Pay attention to your dreams. Understand, get a deeper understanding of the type of dreams and the symbols that appear in your dreams. Get to know you on a deeper level. Spend as much free time as you can by yourself now. Because when you move into the two personal year, it's not always about getting out and socializing and partnering up with others. You can if you so choose. If you want to do that, you can do that. But always come back to what yourself is like. Be authentic at all times. It's just another way of saying being true to thyself. and not letting anybody manipulate your energy so that you're having blocks. We know there's a lot of people that try to do that. Just be yourself. And you're born on the ninth, the number nine. Nine is a fiery energy. Nine is a true warrior, but not always the fisticuffs kind. It's a fight with words, understanding powerful words and phrases that work for you. My suggestion is no matter what you are experiencing in life, Melanie, study affirmations and study decrees and learn how to use them to open up your life to higher realms of awareness, remembrance, consciousness, to affirm a new you. You know, people are saying right now, I don't know how many people had the chance to see the movie Michael, the biopic, but there was something that was very important. I caught it. And now people are creating courses around it because he's not on the planet anymore. Michael, without even understanding, not even having digital things around him, because they weren't being used back then in the 60s and 50s, or at least they weren't revealed. But Michael was into meditation. Michael was into affirmations and decrees in his own way. Michael was designing a new side of himself. He said he wanted to be called MJ. He said he wanted to make $100 million. He wanted to be the best. And eventually he became what he wanted to be. What he was constantly putting out in the world, he was feeling it and seeing these words that he wrote on the little sheets of paper, wanting to be who he wanted to be. This is the importance of the power of words, being able to state clearly and describe the type of life you would like to have. So here's another thing you could do. I said earlier, write up to 10 things that you want to experience within the dream world. But even better yet, write one or two things that you would like to see happen in your own life, that you would like to affirm in your own life. Well, people say, have you done it? Yeah. My late mother gave me a life reading before she transitioned. She gave me a life reading in the spring of 1979. She transitioned in the spring of 1981. But in 1979, she told me that where I was born on Long Island, that Long Island, New York was not my home. We were watching cartoons one Saturday morning, Warner Brothers, where they have Bugs Bunny come through the desert past the cacti. Type of cactus he sees is in Arizona. But he says, I should go visit my brother Irving in Albuquerque, meaning Albuquerque, New Mexico. Where am I living for the past 15 years? I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She said in 1979 that I would come live and make Albuquerque my home. I was told that was 1979, so I was told 22 years later by an indigenous shaman that I would come here and live. He didn't even know that was there. It's presence of spirit between he and myself brought it to my attention that I would live here. that people are waiting to meet me. Then I found out on my own, and I had been here round trip by plane the first time. That was in November 2010. Then I came back round trip by Amtrak in March of 2011. Then I returned in November 2011, one way, one way journey on Amtrak. Something about feeling the presence of scenery go by on a train that's racing down the tracks over 60 miles an hour. Traveling by train is great. Doesn't feel comfortable at first, but it is. But here's the bottom line. When I was on that train, that last time, that one way trip from East Coast, at that point I was living in Newark, New Jersey, coming here. I heard that I was going to meet three people that I already knew from the East Coast. All of them were women. And did I meet them? Yes. Met all three. One, she and I went to the same high school. Another person was met at one of my friends, good friends that I mentor. I met her in his house. And then another person, I used to dress their candles. I used to work out of a candle. I'll call it a spiritual candle place. It wasn't that spiritual, but I worked there as a reader. I used to dress candles for people. And that's where I met the other person. At different times, I met them all here in New Jersey. First one I met, the one I went to high school with, met her in December of 2011. And I arrived on my late father's birthday, which was November 15th, 2011. I met her, I'll just say her first name, Lynn. I met Lynn in December of 2011. Now, in less than a month's time, once I got settled to be in a place to stay, to live for a while, sharing a house with an elder gentleman, I met Rhonda, Reverend Rhonda, I'll say. She is a spiritualist minister. I met her at a metaphysical shop in Albuquerque. That was in January or February of 2012. That's where I met some of my beginning clients too in 2012. And then the third person, I met this third person in 2012 at a place called Tech Love on Central Avenue, downtown Albuquerque. Her name is Susan. Met all three. As time went on, I started running into other people who I didn't know, but they also came from where I was born. I was born in East Meadow, Long Island, New York. Lived in Hempstead, Long Island, New York, and I met people who were from East Meadow, Long Island. Since I've been here, I've met so many people that were born and raised on Long Island now live here. In fact, one of my favorite restaurants I like to go to recently, in the past 2 weeks, I met a head chef at a place called Flying Star. There's several Flying Star cafes. They're rather huge here in Albuquerque, very popular places. I met this guy on the west side. I'm in the central corridor, but I met him on the west side. Not too far west, but about 15, 20 minutes, 15 minutes from where I live, 10 minutes or so. I met him. So it seems like, Albuquerque is called a sanctuary city. Means it attracts a lot of people, but it has the same vibration as Sedona, Arizona. They're like twins. They carry the same kind of vibrations. And there are many popular people who live here. There was the guy that passed away. He lived in Santa Fe. His name Gene Hackman. He was an American actor. He lived in Santa Fe. Another one who lived around Santa Fe was Val, Val Clemmer. He was an actor. He was in a movie called Thunderheart. He lived here. I understand he still lives in this area. Oprah, she has a mansion, a piece of property, pretty huge, up in Abiqui. It's called Abqui, Abiqui. And up in that area, Abiqui, was an American painter called Georgia O'Keeffe, whose husband was in the stocks and bonds in New York City, and she kind of trickled out here in the 30s. And she owned a piece of property called Ghost Ranch. Yeah, and there's some ghosts walking around there too. Many, many people lived here and still do. Up in the Taos, New Mexico area, Greg Braden lived in that area. Many people come out of this state. So I came here and I'm still here. 15 years later, come November, I'm still here. I I've had my ups and downs just like anybody else had, but I enjoy my life here. It is truly a laid back city and state. I love being here. I feel more of home life here, especially in the city of Albuquerque, in the neighborhood called Los Ranchos or the Ranches. All right, people got horses out here, but I love it out here. 320 to 326 days out of the year is sunshine. This is the state of the largest international hot air balloon fiesta. Happens on the first Saturday in October of every year and goes about 8 days and 8 nights. Hot air balloon flying attracts over 1 million people into Albuquerque. There are many other cities in the state that have hot air balloon flying. Many other states in the United States that has hot air balloon, but this is the mecca for it. This is where it all began. There's a museum called Abruzzo Johansson, two of the balloon pilots, hot air balloon pilots, that made it famous for flying yeah, Guinness World of Records They flew from Albuquerque, New Mexico, up into Canada and across the Atlantic and landed somewhere on a farm in Paris, France. Abruzzo, Johansson, two guys. There's a museum named after them. It's about 15 minutes northeast of me. Just about every day, when the weather's just right, you can look up in the sky and see numerous hot air balloons from different companies flying around up here. Albuquerque, New Mexico. I just heard recently, yesterday or the day before, there was a huge wind windstorm, water spout, tornado hit Long Island. I know my brother's okay because if he wasn't, I've heard from his daughters. But it hit on the southern end in the Atlantic Beach, Long Beach area of Long Island. Got flooded over there. Well, anyway, let me get back up on the mountain of grace. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I'm glad that all of you hit the like button. There's about 4 or 5 of you on here. I want to thank the first one that joined me was Holly Hammett. Holly Hammett was here first, and then Melanie Hall came through. Up here's Rose. Rose is in here too. There was Jelly's Journeys came through. Thank you. Again, replay this when it goes off. Give it about 20 minutes and listen to it again about the 11-week master key course. 11 weeks. I might have to do jury duty. I don't want to do jury duty, but I may have to do it this year. I've been selected anyway. I'll be on call from Monday, September 28th, all the way through Friday, 10/16, only on the weekdays for jury duty. But y'all put it out there so I don't have to function. Because if I was to go do jury duty, I'll be really cutting it tight. Cutting it really tight to be here to get online at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. For those of you on the West Coast on the Pacific Standard Time, it'll be 5 p.m. when the class starts. If you're Central Time Zone, it'll be 7 p.m. If you're under the Eastern Time Zone, it'll be 8 p.m. Most people who have studied with me know that I can be a little long-winded. Yes, Melanie, always welcome. Rose, may you be blessed and well. Jelly's Journeys, may you be blessed as well. Check out my books on Amazon. I have tons of them over there. I got Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace, originally written in 2004. Put it together with a small publishing company, self-publishing company, through some other friends of mine out here. We did that in 2017, and then May of 2018, I finally got it up on Amazon. That's Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. After that became Akhenaten. Akhenaten was done in 3 months' time. He was posted, The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am, in October of 2018. Then in January or February of 2019 was The Gift, subtitled The Wisdom of Nefertiti as I Am. And then all the other books just started rolling out. So, everybody, if you get the last book, Radiant Heart, which came out in the latter part of 2023, there you go. They're communicating online, Holly and Melanie. If you get this last book, Radiant Heart, in fact, if you get this book, this is the only one you've gotten, I give you a list of books. Yeah, Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace, The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am, The Gift, The Wisdom of Nefertiti as I Am, The Age of Remembrance, which is the Divine I Am Presence in Selenite, then Decree and It Shall Be, which is Speak as I Am. Then the key to life is numerology, your name and date of birth through the study of numbers. All these books you can get on Amazon. So I might as well flash you the page right there. Da, 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 da. Hope you can see them. But anyway, get this book. And if for some reason no one signs up, I will somehow still get it out there. Usually sometimes when people don't sign up for courses, universe does not let me relax. And then I put them into, in this case, if no one signs up for this course, I'll put it in pre-recorded video streams. Sometimes I have to do that. Well, everybody, I'm going to shut down. I have a opportunity tomorrow to head out with some friends, with one of my favorite students out here, Lauren Emily. Also, I am one who can channel. So, if you go on YouTube, the High Vibe Channeling, you can see some of the videos there. I was just on there recently channeling. I usually do the third Sunday with someone else. I'm on the third Sunday, which was July the 16th. So if you go to High Vibe Channeling, you'll see me on there for the date July 16th, 2026. And I channeled a few of my favorite ancestors and also Akhenaten and Nefertiti, giving me information to release to all of you. So if you go on High Vibe Channeling, you will see the most recent ones. And we have a lot of good people in there. I didn't start it. I was invited into that group. I was also invited into a second group, which I also have to find. Um, its channel. There's a channel called Way Showers TV 7822, but I don't think they put the most recent channels yet because I'm the first one as a guest to channel for them. I did that in the morning of Sunday, July 16th. So I have to get that and see when that goes up. So, anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for coming on. If you want to email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number one at the end at gmail.com. And I'll text it in here right now. iam dot circle of grace one at gmail.com. So you can always hit me up, as they say, there for my email. And my Linktree address, I should be on a lot more. People ask me, when are you going back on Lloyd's show? I don't know. Lloyd hasn't invited me back yet. He's usually very busy, just like I am. But you can go to my Linktree. Linktree. This is how they have me listed. I'm also on Instagram. I don't use it as much as I should. But if you get on my link tree, you can find all my other platforms. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Substack, uh, Facebook. I am on Instagram. Even in Pinterest. I have some things in there going on. If you go to Pinterest, I'm in there as Circle of Grace One, but I have a whole other sub pages in there. Well, anyway, it's time for me to move on. My meditation room is calling me. I look forward to getting on at another time. Let me ask you all a question before I sign off. Have you all noticed within the past 10 years or so, yes, you as well, have you all noticed how, quote unquote, so called man made time has collapsed? And because of your own internal awarenesses and graduations and elevations, that you are unable to tell the difference between one day to the next. Like, what I mean by that, today is Saturday, but today it feels like Sunday. Yesterday was Friday. Yesterday felt like Thursday. Have you gone to that experience where it's like you're skipping time, skipping days? If you are, you're not alone. We are traveling a great deal all the time. I mean, traveling so fast that sometimes I'll put out right now a text message that I thought I gave to my wonderful student the other day, and it's just now showing up for me to release it. There is so much that's going on in the world. It is time for us to get stronger. One of the messages that I got from channeling with these two groups is that the more people get into learning how to channel, the more energy of unconditional love and the presence of divine grace can get out onto the planet. Now, there's going to be a lot of shaking up that's still going on, but people become more awakened. And that's the most important thing. People become more awakened. So now I'm ready to sign off. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Take care, everybody. Let me give myself a few hearts. Send some hearts out to all of you, too. That's for everybody that's on here. Thank you so much for your time. Now, I think I have some hot coffee.